operated is strictly prohibited. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Saratoga Racecourse on Alabama Day 2022. And it's a beautiful day here at the spa. Temperature will be in the high 80s. The main track is fast. The turf courses are firm. Portable rail up at 27 feet on the melon turf, and no portable rail in use on the inner. No carryover today in the pick six. And right now we'll take a look at today's changes. And please note, jockeys Joel Rosario and Jose Gomez will not be riding here today. In the first race, number 1, Fazaro, make the jockey Eric Consell. Eric Consell rides the 1, and the weight is now 118. Number 2, Sibere, the rider is now Flavian Pratt. Jockey in the first race on number 2 is Flavian Pratt, and the 5 is 1 pound over. In the second race, scratch 2, Ice Cream Sundae, and 7, Simple Sugar. Scratch numbers 2 and 7. A rider change on the 6. You Can't Handle This to Trevor McCarthy. Trevor McCarthy is on the 6, and the weight there is now 125. In the third race, number 4, Favorite Outlaw, make the rider Flavian Pratt. Flavian Pratt is on the 4, Favorite Outlaw, in race 3. In today's fourth race, a jockey change will be announced for number 1, Road to Remember. Scratch the 2, Rent Control. Scratch number 2. Number 4, Royal Currency. The rider is now Luis Saez. Luis Saez rides the 4, Royal Currency. Scratch number 6, Ard Maka. Scratch number 6. And both numbers 4 and 7 will wear a hood again. Race 5 begins an additional pick 4 on the card. Jockey change on the 2, Conversing, to Johnny Velasquez. Velasquez is on the 2, Conversing. Scratch 9, Desert Wolf, and 10, Fantastic Again. Scratch 9 and 10. Race 6 starts the pick 6. There are no changes. In the 7th race, jockey change will be announced for number 5, Echo Again. Rider change to be announced on the 5. Scratch number 6, Spinzar. Scratch the 6, Spinzar. The 8th race, the Grade 2 Lake Placid Stakes. Jockey change on number 6, Haughty, to Jose Ortiz. Jose Ortiz rides the 6, Haughty. Scratch 7, Kinesi, and 8, Koala Princess. Scratch numbers 7 and 8 out of the 8th. 9th race, the Smart and Fancy Stakes. Jockey change to be announced for number 5, Too Sexy. Rider change to be announced on the 5. Scratch number 10, Spicy Marge. Scratch the 10. The 10th race, the Grade 1 Alabama for 3-year-old fillies. Rider change on the 3, Gerrymander, to Flavian Pratt. Flavian Pratt rides the 3, Gerrymander. And in today's 11th race, scratch 9, Cause to Cruise. 13, Bryce Canyon. Scratch the 15, Air Show, and 16, Corkman. Scratch 9, 13, 15, and 16 out of race 11. We're fast and firm here at Saratoga. At 12:07, we'll have a live edition of the National Anthem, and after the anthem, we will reprise the changes. Once again, first race post today will be at 12:30. Up next, the Alabama Day edition of Talking Horses with Andy Serling and Anthony Stabile.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses on Alabama Day here at Saratoga. He is Anthony Stabile. I'm Andy Serling, and a happy Alabama Day to you.
You too, sir.
A lot of Alabama songs playing coming in. I was a little slow on the uptake.
Pat does a good job on Alabama Day to play to the fans. Yes, a lot of Alabama, a lot of country this morning.
Little Alabama getaway as we were approaching opening the doors, which just opened. We got a lot to talk about. 11 races. You need to head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, no better time than the present. Use the promo code TOGA200. Sign up for Naira Bets. We'll match the $200 of your initial deposit. Play through Naira Bets. We have a bankroll builder, bet 50 to win in the Alabama, and win or lose, $20 towards your bankroll for the Travers Stakes, which, of course, is 1 week from today.
Got to opt into this one.
Got to opt in for that one. Thank you, Anthony. And finally, I think that's it. 12:30 to 6:20, but we'll get all the races in, but we'll be leaving FS2 after the last race.
It was quick.
That's today, 12:30 to 6:20. Race number one. The race number one is a question of couple of drop downs and how much you trust them, because the Floki's fight is supposed to be in front. Maybe got a little rank after breaking a step slowly last time out. Sort of eased under the wire a little bit. Probably could have lost by a little bit less. But having said that, you're dealing with a trainer that's having just a nightmare of a meet, and I'm not taking a horse at a short price from that barn. And Street Vendor, who is dropping down and has run races that make him a major player here, but this is a drop down off a horrendous performance. And I won't be surprised if they run 1-2, but I don't want to pick either one of them.
It's also a drop down off of a try at Monmouth and a start for a tag already now.
And the Monmouth race was a loss to a very mediocre horse.
Yes. So, as the favorite both times, and this horse has burned a lot of money so far in his career.
Irad Todd.
Blinkers come off. Irad Todd is going to be short. You brought up great points about Floki's flight, who, it's just tough to tell. I'm Rudy's biggest fan. It's just tough to take him right now.
Let's show the replay that involves the horse you picked on top, Sabari and Fazaro, finished second and third. And why don't you tell us why you're taking Sabari today?
I just figured this horse had enough improvement first time on the turf last time from his dirt form, and both of his starts for Ray Handel have been much better than the two starts down at Parks. That one more step forward should be able to get this horse to the winner's circle today.
Well, I think this is a horse that we both thought would probably benefit from the switch to Joel Rosario, and I think that's what's being unsaid here. And the reality is that Fazaro did have a slightly easier trip than Sabari did, and Sabari probably ran slightly better than Fazaro. But let me just make something clear. I've got the horse second, you have him on top, and we don't have Fazaro anywhere here. So I'm not sure, and I bet Sabari last time, and that was the day to cash with this horse, in my opinion.
Okay.
Not saying can't win today, not getting Joel, no knock on Pratt, who's a sensational rider and having a great meet. I'm taking Billy Price in here because I had my day with the two last time out, and I think we saw that Sabari's just a horse. Not that he can't win. The 4, Rudy's going to win some races before I start betting the horses, even though the horse is loose and is very dangerous here. And Street Vendor as well, another horse. By the way, yeah, okay, I didn't put Street Vendor anywhere. You have him third. We'll get to the 7 in a second. This horse, the dam won 3 times out of 10 times in the turf, $127,000, 88 buyer. One of the 3 horses to try the turf won, but another one that ran the turf ran well. George Weaver's barn is going great guns so far. The meet's going well for him. The trainer's done well. He can be streaky up here. I'm just going to take a shot with this first-time starter. What about pistol and shotgun, or shotgun?
I think you have to include this horse, right? Stretching out for the first time, Boy Tourist out of a Tail of the Cat mare. It's a little bit of a kitchen sink. The fresh gelding, first-time Lasix. I like the first Lasix off the claim from Diodoro, as well as the fact that this horse hadn't run in over 10 months. So gets the Lasix now, the ultimate equipment change with the gelding.
Diodoro's 0 for 7 off the claim on the turf with maidens, 0 for 3 at Naira with none hitting the board. This horse does come out of a weak race, but is a wild card.
I would imagine this horse is going to be a lot closer to coming out of a very fast pace last time stretching out.
Oh, all right, race number 2. Race number 2 is not a race I have any major interest in. I've seen these horses a million times, and I've kind of had enough of them. You took the number 3, Gagliano.
Going to be the best price of the horses that I think can win this race, hoping that they come back to her a little bit and she could run them down again. Dealing with an instance here where it looks like Rudy and the number 6, You Can't Handle This, is going to be the favorite, if not the second choice.
She is loose.
Yeah, she's loose, but I'm hoping she comes back. and I'm hoping Galliano can pick him up.
Okay. I'm going to take different horses in here. One is the one Holiday Jazz coming off the claim, a claim and a drop. Brittany Russell has some good numbers out of town, 5 for 9 off the claim on the dirt, 56%, $4 ROI, $3.99, 1 for 2 here, one with a 3 to 5 shot. I'm not in love with this horse, but I want a new, sort of a new thing. Horse who ran maybe against some better horses on the drop down. The 4 Spooky Road is kind of enticing as the new face in here in the dirt, and the only time the horse ran in the dirt, finished second. I think we should show that race finishing second so people can get a little bit of an idea of what was going on there. This was an off-the-turf race where 3 horses stayed in, and these were not particularly good horses. Having said that, it's first time in the dirt in a race that, I mean, I'm not knocking anybody in here, and I don't know how you can't just think a fresh face can win, but I'm not sure this horse can run at all.
Yeah, I don't know if surface matters. I don't know what matters with this horse.
Company.
Yeah, company.
Shall we move on?
Yes, I would.
And
I
there's
would
the winner
so.
waltzing to the wire, almost 3 lengths in front of her down at the fairgrounds. We'll see what happens.
That's the problem, too. That horse she could have won by 10 that day.
Right, but she still ran the figure she ran, which makes her fast enough to win if you just take the figure at face value.
True.
Race number 3.
You make a great point.
Race number 3 at 6 furlongs. I think on the surface of things, and it's fair to say that race number 3 looks like a 2-horse race between Peaceful Waters and the 4 Favorite Outlaw. We'll take a look at them finishing a distant second and third. You've got them 1-2. Why don't you talk about it?
Yeah, I wish I had something more clever in here. 12 Favorite Outlaw. You know, I was a little surprised Favorite Outlaw didn't show a little bit more speed last time. And I wonder if Flavian Pratt, now, it was supposed to be Rosario, now it's Pratt. We'll see just how fast this horse is leaving out of there. Peaceful Waters, on the other hand, showed plenty of speed last time. And I worry a little bit, Andy, about both of these horses. I had nothing clever. Now, I'm glad you did. I really don't have anything clever. I guess Peaceful Waters can get loose if... I know Striking Speed's a little bit of a wild card as well. Maybe it sets up for Favorite Outlaw. I put Favorite Outlaw just hoping he'd be closer but not on the lead.
Closer or... Okay.
Closer, not on the lead. I want this to be a little bit closer than he was last time.
Okay, I prefer Peaceful Waters. I do want to make a couple of comments. Peaceful Waters was not really in hand on the inside. Peaceful Waters was off the rail. And I think that's a day the rail may not have been the place to be. Whoever needs a phone call, turn your phone off. Thank you. The rail was possibly off that day. So I think there's a probability this horse could have been on a bad rail, but wasn't. Was off the rail. So that I'm going to get out of the way. I thought Peaceful Waters ran the better race and is the more likely winner of the 2. I'm going to tell you about Favorite Outlaw. If you take out that 95 buyer at Oaklawn, this horse is just sort of okay. And I don't like the fact that this horse ran that big number at Oaklawn and disappears for 5 months and has just been sort of okay.
But aren't his okay races good enough to win here?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I just haven't seen any sort of improvement from this horse, and usually you see improvement from Steve's horses. I mean, that's one of the things that separates Steve Asmussen's barn from a lot of barns. His horses get better.
See, that's how I looked at it kind of similarly, where he has this, his usual races are good enough, and he has a fig in him that would just bury this field.
No, he doesn't. But, yeah, okay. But he's not going to run that figure in all likelihood.
In all likelihood.
That's fine. He can win. I'm just not. He's not for me at a short price, and I actually think the other one should be a shorter price. But forgetting about that, I think risk profile is kind of interesting. I found a stat for Linda Rice. If you go get her sprints, 3 to 7 months. I sort of split the difference. So it's now 5 months.
I love when you do that.
And she's 22%, 209 ROI. Horse is coming back. 4 for 16 at Saratoga with a 311 ROI. This is a horse that has a race going back and has efforts, has had some trips, didn't get a good ride last time down at Laurel, has some races that are good enough. The horse tailed off a little bit, and Linda's given this horse some time off. And she's not coming back and running this horse for a tag. She's coming back in a non-winners of 1 at Saratoga. And Linda's also extremely crafty. She knows things often get a little softer in these weeks. You know, the horses, the tough horses from the top barns that ran early in the meet, they come back at the last couple of weeks.
You think about the other end. You think about what it looked like. This is kind of a non-winners of 1 that she probably knew was going to be in the book, because trainers know what's going to be in the book because they know what the books normally look like. They know when these races come up. You talk to any trainer, they say, I want to see a condition book, but I kind of know when races are going to come up. Well, it's 4 weeks after the last one.
And so I'm not going to go in the first one because the first one's a war. You know, the second one, little war. This is the one I'm going in. And
Well, at least the first one of them's going to be out of
and
there.
I'll say something else. Linda's having a very good meet. She did not have a good meet at Belmont.
She's quietly
And
having
her
a nice
horses
meet.
are running. So I'm just dying for an alternative. I'm not against the 3 and 4, but I also don't want to be in their quarter at a short price. And she's the best alternative I can come up with.
Fair enough.
Race number 4. Race number 4 was changed a little bit when Rent Control came out, who wasn't winning and was one of the most incredible losses in the history of horse racing last time out, but changes the pace scenario. And in changing the pace scenario, likely helps your horse, Shinful. And we'll take a look at Shinful's race 2 back when he finished second, or she finished second.
I would imagine those horses only start with Lasix. And I remember Rick saying something to me, Rick Schosberger, trainer, saying something to me after her debut that she would have Lasix next time. Now, you're not going to pass up the chance to run for $150,000 against the Stallion Series horses. So she ran without the Lasix. She gets her Lasix back. Like you said, pace scenario gets helped with the scratch. I would imagine Errata will leave for position, and I would imagine Bunty Windermere is a little bit faster than her, and she'll let Bunty Windermere go around and just kind of sit off Bunty Windermere.
Right. The problem with her is, and she can win, and the scratch helps her an enormous amount, is that was a 7 furlong race. And while I get the notion that 5.5 could be better for her, I'm not sold on that because 5.5 has 7 has a much slower pace.
Much.
And she was just walking on the front end. And I'm not against her, but I'm not thrilled with her. Now, I disagree with David. I believe this horse will be favored. I don't think Mitch Friedman's going to be favored in here. I
agree.
I love Mitch. This is not a criticism of Mitch, but the public is not jumping on Mitch Friedman horses. Now, I bet this horse last time at 30-1. Obviously, I'm getting a fraction of that even if she's not favored. Having said that, she ran last time. And those are way better horses than she's running against here. Not a little better, way better horses. And now she gets Javier, and I just think she's going to run well today. I think it's very logical. I also think Road to Remember is extremely dangerous in this race. This horse was a legitimate 5 wide in that race, Sinfully Sweet race last time, and had absolutely no chance as the race was run. And based on the fig, I mean, she drowned Lollygag, who finished, what, a length and 3/4 behind the horse you like. I think this horse makes a ton of sense in here. I'm 1s and 3s.
Okay.
And I'm not. I mean, I in a spread, I would use your horse somewhere. I think I don't disagree with what you said. I just prefer these horses.
Okay.
Race number 4.
Oh, by the way, that starts a bonus pick 4. Pick 5. Mandatory pick 5. This race, race 5, starts a bonus pick 4.
You are on top of your game today. You
Ready.
love those bonus pick
We'll have
5s and
tickets
big
up for
shorts.
the mandatory pick 5 and the late pick 5 later on at Naira
So,
Bets.
in race number 6, we are just going to assume that Activist Investing is a good horse. And I think it's fair from the race that he ran to say that he is a good horse. We'll take a look at what happened early in the race, for which I unfairly blamed Irad Ortiz. And he made a real move late in the race, and we'll pick it up. But it shouldn't be lost that Coach Petro ran very well, albeit with an excellent
Clean.
trip.
Yeah, clean as a whistle.
That active investing is in the 3 or 4 path, is inside of a horse, with a horse outside of him and a horse inside of him. Not a good spot going into that first turn, the inner with 2-year-olds. And that's the number 4, Wide Right, who's the 7 today, who just takes him out of the race completely. And while Wide Right finished a good 4 3/4 behind him, I mean, this horse was cost.
How about the foreshadowing of that horse's name?
5 or 6 lengths. Wide Right. Yeah, that's good. I like that. Yeah, that's funny. I wonder if they knew. Anyway,
The wrong kind of they knew.
Could not make up the 5 to 6
No.
lengths he lost in that spot. And we're going to hope he gets a cleaner trip today.
And it happened on the turn. You know, we see horses bolt and make these moves down the backside sometimes. And if you get taken wide on the straightaway, it's a little different than getting just blown out onto the first turn in your debut.
I made a score with a Gary Siaka horse in the early 90s named Dr. Kiernan.
Wow.
My old girlfriend Hillary was here with me that day, and I think it was like 30 or 40 to 1. He ended up being a good horse, by the way, Dr. Kiernan.
Yeah, he was.
And he got taken out in the first turn of the race, and I had bet him, and he was a big price, and I had my little hissy fit and still won the race.
You had a hissy fit?
I know, hard to believe.
Can't believe it.
I'm far more better behaved now than I used to be. Forget
That's
about it.
scary. It's true, but it's scary.
Not even close.
It's scary because it's true.
You too.
Me too, yeah, for
Worst.
sure. Yes.
Now, Rarefied Air is one of those interesting trip horses I like to talk about. And I've got the horse higher than you do. And I'm not sure I'm right and you're wrong. and I don't think you're saying he can't win because there's a lot going on in this race.
Yeah.
We'll take a look at his race last time, and in my opinion, this is one of those good trip, bad trip horses because Rarefied Air should have won this race. And it was no fault of Jose Ortiz. He got unlucky. He saved ground.
And the winner just came from last.
And by the time this horse, you see him, he's buried in there in the white, and look at the running that's being done in front of him. These horses are in full flight with 3 lengths on him, and he's now just getting his legs under him. And when he finally gets his legs under him, he comes running. And I think there's a real argument that with a good trip, he may have won, or a clean trip. On the other hand, he also saved ground the entire way and had so much good go for him that while he was somewhat unlucky to lose that race, he had a lot of good things happen.
It doesn't negate the point of some tough luck, but yes, you're right. And I think it's even more important with these 2-year-olds going the 2 turns because obviously that most of them making their debuts are just making the second or third starts. They're relatively inexperienced. Having the edge, it's part of the reason, because I agree with everything you said about Coach Petro. He ran well last time. He had an amazingly clean trip in a race that had a couple of tough trips in him. But he's drawn inside today, so he figures again to at least be able to save some ground around there. And Manny is the kind of rider that is going to get him to save some ground in here.
He should have won last time.
I don't disagree with that.
Let's talk about firsters.
Okay.
We both have Conversing in there. I have him 4th. You have him 2nd.
Yeah, Johnny V. Dam was 3 for 12 on the grass.
Well, it was Joel Rosario was named, which
Yes.
I'm assuming had a lot to do with you picking the horse.
Johnny V was well. I thought I heard this horse could run a little bit.
Okay, so you have a tip. Okay,
yeah.
The Dam was 3 for 12 on the turf. Ran for Chad Brown. Won over $200,000. Ran an 89 buyer. It's a second full. The first one ran on the turf. Did not win. The funny horse to me is Taking Candy for Cherie DeVoe. Because this horse, I thought, worked a very impressive 10 flat at the sales. Yet, they're running first time on the grass with a trap shot Dam. And it's just an odd horse to me. And
there's a lot of weird things with this. I took a look at this horse as well.
Cherie can win with the first time starter going long. She did it here last year. This horse is interesting to me. I just couldn't make the horse on turf in this field.
Only 1 5/8 breeze. Horse did not hit the work tab until late June. And the thing that I think interested me the most was never got this horse over to the Oklahoma to get onto the training turf. That was a little odd to me.
Race number 6 is a race where I'm not going to get cute. We'll take a look at Best Idea running second in the Mike Lee. Best Idea gets Lasix back. And in my opinion, Best Idea is just too good for these horses. I don't think Win for Gold, who hasn't had the best of trips, is completely impossible. Not that I want Rudy Rodriguez horses. Should be setting the pace. I just think Best Idea has been a bit unlucky. Barisi's very good. Rotney ran off the screen. Got beaten moving outside against a horse that dug in on the gold rail. I know this horse is somewhat disappointed after the big debut. I think today is the day, getting the Lasix back, that he gets on track. I'm not trying to beat him at a short price.
Pick 6 kicks off here. Yeah, formidable entry. It took a little shot with a horse that I made some money with so far. Dangerous Edge. Went 2 turns. Caught a wet track last time. Has not had a lot of success on the wet tracks. Gets back to dry ground. 1.5 turns out of the Wilson chute. I didn't want to take an entry that was going to be 3 to 5. I took a page out of your book, so I picked the horse I like second. But yes, you're playing that middle pick 4,
problem with Dangerous
pick 5.
Edge is, and probably 1 1/8 was too far for him. He got a sensational trip in a fast-paced race last time, but maybe 1 1/8 around 2 turns was too far for him. The problem is that even his good races aren't good enough to win this race if Best Idea shows up. I think Dr. Blood is a little dangerous near us. Well, I have your horse at second. I'm not. But Dr. Blood ran well, and I thought he improved for Flaffy Joseph, so I don't think he's impossible in here. We'll move on. We'll take a break. We'll come back with the late pick 5, including 3 greatest stakes.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. He is Anthony Stabile. I am not. Race number 7, kicking off the late pick 5 first-time starters, and this is the latest and greatest fastest horse in the world, a horse you and I both have second in the number 5, Echo Again, a half-to Pneumatic, who started out his career very, very well. This has been the meet that so far, I would say, the 2-year-old races have been defined by a lot of talk and no delivery, because we have heard about one super tough maiden race after another, and the horses that were supposed to be good haven't just lost, they've stunk.
How many times have we heard stories on multiple, and the horses that have had experience have just decimated them?
Chocolate Gelato, who I didn't like at all after what I thought was a decided debut, I mean,
toyed with those
looked
horses.
like the second coming, and it was hard to believe that Todd Pletcher would have a 2-year-old that would run better than Prank. In fact, Prank might be just about one of the only. No, there was the Jeremiah Englehart New York bred that Bill Parcells owns that delivered.
Maple Leaf Mel. She's running back in the Seeking the Ante.
But to be fair, in general, they disappointed. Prank didn't. Prank was terrific. And Todd Pletcher, at this point, Todd Pletcher is a stranglehold on the 2-year-old fillies.
No
now, a
question
lot
about
can
it.
change.
Sure.
But he's won a lot of big races with 2-year-olds as well. So, but those horses, I mean, Prank was sensational, and Chocolate Gelato she made shambles of a field that was loaded with horses that ran last and second to last that were the second coming.
Yep.
But Echo Again, and that's not Steve Asmussen's fault. He's only had one supposedly fast horse that lost so far, so he hasn't contributed mightily to the. And his horses are fairly reliable. When they're supposed to be good, they usually deliver. I've taken a small shot against as a view, but I'm not taking a big stand against.
Apparently, this horse outworked the Disarm and Favorite Outlaw, who's an older horse.
He worked with Favorite Outlaw.
Yeah.
Yes, last time.
Disarm 2 or 3 back.
And if he runs an 84 buyer, he'll probably win.
Probably.
So why have you taken expected value?
I just took a little shot against him. This horse.
Is there a tip on this horse?
No,
I know nothing about
I don't
this
have
horse.
a tip. I don't have a tip. I just like the couple of 5/8 breezes. Nice work out of the gate.
No workout
3
report
back.
info.
No workout report info. No.
Why would we want that?
Gate works are quick, and I like the gate works being quick. It's not a big field. I don't know what you're going to get from Echo Again. I don't want to take a horse at a short price. The way these fastest horses in the world have been running up here, I'm hoping from the rail into Pratt this horse breaks like he's working in the gate works in the morning, and hoping he can play catch me if you can.
A relatively inexpensive flatter, a half to 4 horses that did a minimal amount of running, 60 buyers, the best ones. One of them ran a 70 buyer best. We'll see. I've got the horse third. Obviously, I'm rooting for the connections. Having said that, I'm betting bat flip in here. I'm going to show you the start of Bat Flip's race. I'm not going to bore you with the entire race. You should feel free to look at it. Bat Flip didn't get bet off the board in here, but Bat Flip just completely blew the break and just lost all chance in a race that was dominated up front. Blazing Sevens is kind of an under-the-radar Chad Brown first-time star that looked extremely good. The second horse, Bourbon Bash, for Wayne Lucas, crushed a bunch of horses that were supposed to be runners.
That was with the other horse I
couldn't remember. An 80-plus buyer in the next start, and this feels like a Todd Pletcher, Irad Ortiz horse that's going to be a little under the radar. Probably not going to take as much money as the other Todd Pletcher horse. The 5's going to get bet. I have no idea if the 1's a story or not. I'm going to take my chances. And this horse, to me, did enough running in this race that I think this could be a runner.
And it follows the pattern of the meet. The firsters get blown out by the horse that's already run.
So I'm going in with this one. I do want to add, I like the name of the 7, Game Change.
Okay.
You ever see the HBO movie about Sarah Palin, Game Change?
No.
Great movie. Really, really great movie. Okay. Anything else?
No.
All right. Race number 8. By the way, there's only 2 greatest stakes today. I misspoke. I apologize.
Shame on you, Andy.
I'm embarrassed. Couple scratches. They probably were in tough spots. I imagine they're going to go in the risk averse next week. So let's talk about With the Moonlight coming back here in just 13 days after winning the Saratoga Oaks. 2 questions about her. How confident are you that she is the best horse in this race?
I'm not.
And does the time off, is it a good or bad thing?
Obviously, she'll let us know that at around 4:30 today.
Well,
I
think it's a good thing because Charlie Appleby is nobody's fool. And Charlie Appleby isn't sticking around to run in this race unless he thinks she's going to run.
Well, she's coming downstate, right?
No.
She's not finishing the Tiara?
You need to do a little reading. You need to do a little reading to get up on things. You're on the show. You need to read a little bit. She's not. She's done. She stayed here because she's not going to run a mile and 3/8 down at Belmont.
Okay.
And he's coming back, and he said right after the last race he was coming back for this race. So this was a plan. I'm going to tell you, if Charlie Appleby has a plan, I'm not the person who should be saying I think he's foolish.
Yet you have a third.
Because I like other horses in here. But all I'm saying is I don't worry about the 13 days. I'm just not sure how much better she is than Consumer Spending. Now, she probably ran a little bit better than Consumer Spending because she was outside when the rail was good in that last race. Consumer Spending spent almost all of the race on the rail. But I also wonder if a shorter distance is better for Consumer Spending.
So there are a few things.
And we'll show her winning the Wonder again while you talk about Consumer Spending, who you have on top.
Yeah, I like Consumer Spending in here. I think the cutback in distance will probably hurt her less than with the Moonlight. See, when these horses come running like she did in the Belmont Oaks Invitational, it makes you think they're going to want more ground. I don't know if she's going to want more ground. I think these mile and a 16th, mile and an 8th races, here she is making the lead with a little more than the 16th of a mile to go. I think these races are more in her wheelhouse.
This is a dramatically inferior field, though, the one she's facing here.
No question about it.
I'm a fan of hers. I picked her second, and I think she has a very good chance to win. The race in the Belmont Oaks was a little confusing because she was sitting behind McCulloch just had a quicker turn of foot, and she was more effective distance. But she was running at the end. She was really running through the wire. I mean, she ran okay, but she also saved a lot of ground in that race. And with the Moonlight was involved in the pace, she was too wide. You wanted to be inside that day, so I'm on the fence a little bit. I just thought she'd be a better price, so I put her over her.
My issue with the Moonlight was the fact that she got a little washy last time when she was here as well. Supposed to get into the high 80s
but
today.
She still ran a good race.
I know she did, but
so why are you worried about something that didn't matter last time?
She also had a pretty good setup last
time.
It was
hot when she ran last time.
I understand that. What I'm saying is now she has to do it again in 13 days. Last time she had
okay.
So
you think the 13 days matters?
I think it could matter. Yes,
okay,
I think it will matter.
Okay. You think it will matter?
Yeah.
But have her second. I think it won't matter and have her third. So you've got the horses Dolce Zell and Eminent Victor coming out of the Lake George. We'll show the start where Eminent Victor stumbled. Now she stumbled, but it didn't hurt her that badly because she really recovered incredibly well and didn't lose that much position. But I think more than that, she lost a little bit. I think her being wide while the other horse came up the rail, and I understand, and I bet Dolce Zell last time. I understand she had to fight through traffic on the inside, but I think she saved ground the whole way, and Dolce Zell got the better trip. You've got them third and fourth. I have a strong opinion. I don't think it's possible that these two horses can beat both with the Moonlight and Consumer Spending. I don't want any part of anybody coming out of the Lake George.
Well, I have Consumer Spending with the Moonlight one too.
I understand, but you don't have a horse that I think I pick on top behind them, which is fine. It's fine.
I have an idea about Eminent Victor. I'm wondering the way this race looks to set up on paper. If she's not forward in here,
of course she'll be forward.
Now, she comes out of some quicker races throughout her career.
Isn't Dolce Zell more forward than her? She has more natural speed.
Yeah, I think Eminent Victor will be more forward to that. I wouldn't even be surprised if she's on a lead.
Okay, I'll be shocked. If she's in front of Sailby, they'll have to get smelling salts to wake me up, or they'll have to be able to revive Sailby because she threw the rider at the start. Stop it, Anthony. She can't be in front of Sailby. Stop it.
Okay.
Sailby's going. If she's not going, why is she in the race?
You would assume she's going. You would assume she's going.
I know. And you thought Luis Saez would be in front yesterday with a horse with no speed. It was last. I get it. It's silly.
Which horse was that?
The horse in the ninth race, the four-horse.
Well, that was just ridiculous. The whole race was ridiculous.
But this is okay. Fine. Maybe he'll. So Chad Brown's going to use her as a rabbit.
I think being forward.
She may
think
be.
being forward
She's
will
going to be
help her
forward,
cause.
but she's not ready to be in front of Sailby. Now she can be in front of Dolce Zell because that one has a more outside post. But okay, we're arguing about idiotic minutia. Haughty. I'm going to show Haughty's Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf because I don't think we've really had a chance to find out who Haughty is since this race. And the more you watch this race, and I didn't like her in here, I bet Consumer Spending, Haughty ran the best race. Haughty was wide the entire way around the track this day, while everybody that was effective was down on the inside. And she was the only horse that was wide that did any kind of running. And I don't think there's any argument that you can make. I don't think there's any argument against the real possibility that she ran the best race in here. So then she comes back and she runs in an absolute bog at Penn National. She wins over a field that wasn't any good, and the only other good horse in there was Customer List, who couldn't handle the soft turf at all. Then she tries a mile and a quarter in her second start of the year, and she's probably not a router. And she runs lousy, no question about it.
She was terrible last time.
Yes, at a mile and a quarter. She was not in the rail, though, and that does matter.
Hold on a second. Do you think it would have mattered what the distance was last time?
I don't know. I don't know.
You're the guy that doesn't care about distance. I don't think it would have mattered.
Wait a second. No. I'm not the guy who makes things up about distance. I care about distance in turf racing, and I care about distance in long distance races. And no, let me finish.
She was
let me
abysmal
finish.
last time.
That's fine. You don't like her. I like her. That's fine. But I care about distance when it matters. I don't care about distance when it doesn't matter.
Right,
That's
but last time distance was irrelevant. She was terrible.
I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so sure about her second start, trying to go farther than she wants to go, that it wasn't a problem. I think she's extremely interesting. And I also think, based on her race, the Juvenile, a race where she ran a lot better in consumer spending. Now, we don't know that she's moved forward.
Came back in 19 days for that Juvenile, too. So that shows you what kind of talent Chad thinks she has.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
Today is the day to find out, because she's going to be a solid price, as she should be. And you're not wrong. She didn't run well last time. But I like her at finally the right distance, and I think she's very, very interesting.
You realize David has her third choice?
Okay.
It's weird, isn't it? You wouldn't think that off that last race that the other two would be shorter?
Who would possibly bet Eminent Victor or Dolce Zell in here?
Okay.
I'm assuming nobody. I think that's what David said. People will realize the horses out of the Lake George can't beat the other ones, and people will probably come to the conclusion that Howdy deserves another chance in here. And the distance, and her Premier Juvenile was very, very good. The Smart and Fancy. So I'm going to show the entire race in the Caress, because I'm a masochist. And Robin Sparkles won. And it'll be interesting to see if Sarah Harper, first time the turf, can run with Robin Sparkles. I think she caught lightning in a bottle last time and got lucky. I bet on Miss J. McKay, and I'm not going to blame Irad. He was just massively unlucky. She got stayed out early. She got stayed out badly. She had so much trouble in this race, and I think it's very hard to argue against the fact that she ran the best race in here. And considering the trouble she had, I think she's the horse you want out of that race. We'll see how it goes. I hate to bet horses back at a half the price of the last. They should have won last time, but I'm taking her here. For Christophe Clement, who needs to get his barn back. But I do agree. I've said to you before, Anthony, I think the last 2 weeks, some of these horses are going to come back that are live, and they're going to start winning again, and hopefully she's one of them.
Yeah, she's very logical in here. She's very, very logical.
She's the one I want out of that race.
Yeah, she's certainly the one I want the most out of that race, no question about it.
So why do you like Too Sexy?
You know, I like the cut back to the 5.5, and I like the fact that she's going to get some pace today. She has not gotten any pace. The last time she got pace was in a Floral Park, and she galloped. I think she gets some pace today because I do believe Sarah Harper puts the pressure on Robin Sparkles today. She just hasn't gotten any pace, Andy. She's
now,
2 for 3 up here.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I know you think she's a lot better than I think she is. Would you have picked her if you knew Joel Rosario wasn't?
Yeah,
right?
I wanted to bet her. I would have picked her. I mean, unless there was an illogical rider on her back, yeah, I would have picked her today. I think the 5.5, and I think the pace scenario in here helps her cause. I think she was really. She ran too badly to be believed last time, but there was no pace in that race, just none. And I know Miss J. McKay was able to overcome no pace, but Miss J. McKay was also much closer. She was a terrible favorite. Miss J. McKay was much, much closer than she ordinarily is because the pace was so slow. She worked out a great trip when she won the license fee.
I don't disagree.
So I think the pace scenario, I don't think they'll be that close on the tote board. I don't think they're a point apart. I think Too Sexy will be a bigger price.
I would agree there will be a bigger disparity. Listen, you like Too Sexy. You've liked her in a lot of races.
I have, yeah.
I don't like her at all.
Okay.
I don't think she's nearly good enough to beat these horses, but we have a difference of opinion. That's fine. I don't know about Sarah Harper, how fast she's going to be, but I'll tell you something. It's a very odd spot for Ron McQuett to bring her back, and she has real turf pedigree. She has a real pedigree that suggests that she could move up on the turf, actually. It's kind of turf improvement pedigree. So Vancouver, I think she's kind of an interesting, goofy, long shot to throw in here. It's not an easy field. And I'll tell you something else. change of control could make Michelle Lovell like shovel. 2 for 2 in her career at Saratoga. We'll take a look at her beating your horse, Too Sexy, in the autumn days. She comes off a perfect trip win last time against much lesser. She beat much lesser last time. And C.J. Hernandez is going to have to work out a good trip from the rail against a very strong riding colony that's going to look to take advantage of him on the inside. So we'll see, but I don't want to deny that this horse is pretty darn good.
You have a third also?
Yeah, she's good.
You know, it's funny. Ordinarily in turf racing, you like being drawn inside because of the fact that you get to save some ground.
Not so much in sprints.
Right, and that's the problem in here. The closers, if you put them all in a bingo drum, the draw probably hurts her because the others figure to have cleaner trips and more of an outside flow with the same running style.
So I think Caravel is a horse that we should at least discuss because she was an overwhelming favorite last time and didn't have a good trip. She was shuffled out of the race and lost all chance. She had no run. The reason I think Anthony and I both left her out, and keep us fast, is that she was lucky to win 2 back in the Intercontinental.
She was 4th best in the Intercontinental.
But I do think she'll benefit from an outside draw, and she'll run better. I just prefer other horses. And at least if you liked her last time, she's a much bigger price today.
I mean, her problem is, too, she's just not as fast as Robin Sparkles and Sarah Harper.
Why
she's
is
going
that
to
her
have
problem?
to rate to win.
Why is that her problem?
Well,
She's rated in 1.
It's been a while.
But she's rated plenty of times in 1.
Yeah.
She won in the lead because the paces were slow. That's why she won in the lead. She's not a speed horse, really. She's certainly not speed for a turf.
Her last two wins, one on the all-weather turf rate.
I'm not a fan either. I'm not. You don't have to defend her. You don't have to. I agree with you, but I do think the outside post gives her a better chance. That's all I'm saying. And I think she had a legitimate excuse last time.
Right. When she didn't break it, she got outgunned by
She was
Robin
as
Sparkles
unlucky last time as she was lucky the time before. I think
she was pretty lucky the time before.
No, she was unbelievably lucky. She was one of the luckiest winners of a stake race in America this year.
Yes.
But that's not to say she doesn't have talent.
She does have talent.
Right,
She's won a bunch of races.
Right.
Won a
I
bunch
don't
of
think
stakes
she should
races.
be
No, I
just
understand.
completely dismissed for a horse that you and I have left off our top 4.
Yeah.
Race number 10, Nest and Secret Oath. We'll show the last half mile. I want to know what Luis Saez could have done better in this race. Because Nest showed speed last time, so I think he had to be there. And let's be honest, if Nest runs back to this race, she can't lose. Cannot lose. But the question is how confident you are that she'll run back to it, and if you don't think it, how much do you think she's reasonably expected to regress? Because this was incredible. She looked like, I mean, let me put it this way. I know there's a lot of Songbird fans out there, and Songbird was, and you're one of them. Songbird wouldn't have come near her in the Coaching Club American Oaks with this performance, and I even think you'll agree with that.
I cannot argue that. It pains
This
me.
was a career-defining performance.
Now, I'm a fan. I'm a big fan of this filly. I like this filly a lot.
She likes you, too. I spoke to her the other day, and she said, I really like Anthony.
I'll be honest with you. I feel like you're going to see a similar performance today.
I don't.
Okay.
If you look at the workout her last time, she ran against Malathot, and it was okay. But she may not be working as well coming this race as last time. May not say she's working badly. I just wonder a little bit. I want to see it. I want to see it again. It's a little ridiculous but I think it's important because if we don't see it again, I do think she's vulnerable. Now, I don't think she's vulnerable to Secret Oath. I feel the same way you do about Secret Oath. And I love Secret Oath. I liked her last time. It was a horrible pick, obviously, a horrible opinion. And I liked her in the Oaks, and she ran a better race in the Oaks, and I know you agree with that. And I thought she ran well in the Preakness. She didn't get a good trip that day. That's the day I would be mad at Luis Saez, not last time, because I don't know how you could be mad at Luis Saez. But Wayne, like me, has been tough on jockeys, and I respect that. I
don't think distance is her friend. Really? I don't think the extra eighth of a mile is going to help her. I think it hurts her.
Well, it's certainly going to help. It's going to certainly be better for Nest than it is for her. Even if you don't think distance is relevant for her, you know it's good for Nest.
I think it's good for Nest, and I think potentially it's going to be good for Nostalgic. I feel like Nostalgic's going to be one that's going to...
She's not much horse, Anthony.
I'm sorry?
She's not much horse. She might be third, like we have her, but she's not much horse.
You got to...
She never run a good race. I mean, when Bill Mott won this race with Royal Delta off a third-place finish in the CCA Oaks, she didn't get beat 15 lengths in the CCA Oaks, and she had real races.
The winner won by 12.
she had real races on her PPs to suggest that she could win that. It was the biggest bet I made that year. This horse has no good races that put her in the contention. Don't give me her perfect trip up the rail win over Venti Valentine in the Gazelle.
No, I'm not giving you that. It cost me $10,000. I'm not going to give you that. Believe me, that's the last thing I'm going to bring up. I just feel like her pedigree is going to lend to her wanting the 10 furlongs more than most of the others in here.
Well, Secret Oath's an Arrogate. I mean, I'm not sure why Secret Oath should have a problem with a mile and a quarter. It's an Arrogate. From a pedigree standpoint, yeah, I agree that Nostalgic has a long pedigree. It's just kind of slow. But Secret Oath, I like Gerrymander. And we'll look at Gerrymander's last race in Mother Goose. And this was a very, very good performance. Did she get a good trip? Was it a much weaker field than this? Of course. But she won for fun and ran a 98 buyer, which, to be fair, is only 6 points behind Nest. Now, that's a good 4 lengths. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot to make up. But that was Nest's very best race. And listen, I'd love to see Nest go out and run a 107 buyer and turn herself into an absolute, just a monster, because you know I love legitimately good fast horses. But I kind of want to see it again. And if Nest takes a step back and runs even 100, I don't think it's impossible that Gerrymander can improve a lot. And Gerrymander's been working very, very well coming into this race. Now, I'm not saying Nest is working badly, but I wonder if she's going to come back. And I think it is a legit concern coming off of that effort, isn't it, that she'll come back and run that race again? You seem to think it's just it's like going to happen.
Yeah, I think the filly we saw before the Oaks is just that Nest doesn't exist anymore.
Of course she's a better horse. Her Belmont was terrific, and her last race, and distance is her friend. And by the way, if they were the same price, I would pick Nest.
Right, no, I
but
understand
Nest is going to be 1 to 2, 2 to 5, and Gerrymander's going to be 7 to 2, 4 to 1 or higher.
You know, when you look at the last race, I think people may get, without looking at the PPs, you get lulled into thinking it was a soft pace. That was a pretty good pace.
Oh, no. What person would think that was a soft pace? The other horses that were near it just finished nowhere.
You know, so Gerrymander's
the pace contributed to the other horses running poorly.
Gerrymander's faced with one of 2 tasks in here. She's going to be in front, and Nest is now tactical enough where she's going to be breathing down her neck, or Irad just does what he does last time, put her on a lead, keep her in the middle of the track, and now she's got to go chase after her. First time around 2 turns, going from a mile and a 16 to 10 furlongs.
Hang on a second. You're acting as though her being forward with Nest is a bad thing. Would you rather... No, let me finish. Would you rather that she's forward with Nest or she's coming out the back?
No, what I'm saying to you is...
No, which one? I want you to answer that. It's a question.
I'm gonna go.
Which would you prefer? She's coming out the back door, or she can be forward.
She's gonna have to deal with a filly that has a lot more seasoning and a lot more miles under her belt.
I totally agree. I'm picking a horse that's much less likely to win the Nest. We've already established that. The question is, I think the price compensates for it. I don't think the Nest is 70% to win this race, and I think Gerrymander's better than 20% to win this race. That's why I'm betting. That's my opinion. But I want you to say, you talk about these trips, you talk about these horses chasing, you come to these things. Wouldn't you prefer to have a horse you're trying to beat Nest that can be forward with her?
All I'm saying is she's going to have to deal with her for an awfully long time.
Can you answer that? Wouldn't you prefer, if you're trying to beat Nest?
I'd rather have somebody doing my dirty work.
Okay, but that's not going to happen.
Right.
Would you rather have a horse in this circumstance, that's all I want to ask you, that is more forward or coming out the back door?
I'm a fan of Gerrymander too, so I would rather be forward, but
no, it's not about Gerrymander.
It's a task.
You're not listening. It's a question.
But you can't give a blanket answer to that question. It depends on the horse.
No, there's actually a real answer to it. I think if you want to beat Nest, you want to be at least involved with her. You want to be close to her. You don't want to have to hope that she falls apart and the race falls apart. You want to hope that you're good enough to beat her fair and square.
Secret Oath tried to be a part of it at the 3/8 pole last time, and she left the foot.
Yes, we've been through that.
But she has the question. Gerrymander's problem is she has to go another 3/16 of a mile.
We'll move on.
She has to go around 2 turns for the first time.
We're having 2 different conversations.
There's a lot to ask here.
We're having 2 different conversations here.
Because one conversation has to be had with the other. She has a lot to deal with, and now she also has to deal with Nest. She has questions she has to answer, and now she has to deal with the best 3-year-old filly in the country.
Gotcha. Race number 11. Mile and a 16th. It's the drop-down race. You've got Wicked Fast dropping down. You've got Sarah LaFlash, who has speed, dropping down. You've got Aviano dropping down. Aviano is the horse that we'll show here from Churchill Downs. This is the weirdest drop because Aviano looked pretty good. Now, tried a mile and a quarter and ran so badly. Todd's got okay numbers, dropping in first time for a tag. I don't know, 35,000? This is a weird drop. I've got the horse second. You know, I look at TT with Wicked Fast. This horse is not winning a non-winners of 2.
No.
You know? And
Wicked Fast is a drop that makes sense. Aviano's drop does not make that much
and
sense.
claim this horse for 50,000. Caravel Flash makes a certain amount of sense, too, is the speed. But the 8 Barnegat Light has speed, and that
Yes.
horse has to go. And I also think yesterday was the first day on the inner we saw things mitigate. So for that reason, I'm not sure having speed is going to be a good advantage. But lay American Pure on me.
No, I'm just taking a shot, make a first time on the turf. I know this horse has one fig at Indiana, at Horseshoe Indy, that's faster. I thought this horse's all-weather races were okay. I'm hoping that kind of translates to the turf. There's
What
not
about
much
the
turf
pedigree?
pedigree here.
No,
there's
there's
not much
negative
turf
turf
pedigree at all. Yeah, I know. Dan was 0 for 6 on the grass.
And ran much faster on the dirt.
We did see the American Freedom win on the turf
Yes,
yesterday.
now he's now 1 for 16 with first time on the turf with turf
This one's
sprinters.
going to be 100 to 1. So it's going to be 15, 20 to 1. I don't want the droppers. I'm going to take the horse trying the turf for the first time.
Okay. Big price. Good luck.
I'm going to use a half a dozen horses in here, closing out the late pick 5. So
All right. That is the Alabama Talking Horses. Head over to Naira Bets if you're not a member of Naira Bets, and keep in mind that first post will be just after 12:30 today. Promo code TOGA200 will match to $200 of your initial deposit. We have a bankroll builder. Is this the last one, or is there one tomorrow?
I believe there's one tomorrow. Don't hold me
There
to
is
that,
one
though.
tomorrow. There is one tomorrow. Not surprising. $20 towards the Travers win or lose. You bet 50 on Nest, and she's 1 to 2. You get $20 more. You're essentially getting an extra 2 to 5. You're getting 380 on her, and which 380's value on Nest, in my opinion.
Yeah, I take 380 right now.
I'm sure you would, as would many other people, but you can do it by betting 50 to win in the Alabama. The show, Saturday Live, 12:30 to 6:20, but we will be through the last race. So you will get to see that last race on FS2 unless there's some dramatic happens that causes a delay, because I'm sure it'll happen and people will say Andy guaranteed to be on the show, and it's not, because that's the way Twitter works. We're done. You have a good day, Anthony.
You too, pal.
You have a good day out there. Johnny I up next with a reprise, the scratches and changes.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.